All right, so what I've got here is I figured I'd do something a little bit different today. We all know that prices have gotten out of whack on a lot of stuff, so I was going to show you how I make some homemade mayonnaise. Um, anyways, mayo now is $9 at the store for the Dukes or for the good stuff, and so I'm probably only going to have twice that much in making this. So. And I'm going to try and do this the most inefficient way possible where you could use a blender. I'm going to try this. But anyway, it is pretty cool because you can tailor your mayo to however you like it. So anyway, I thought I'd show you how to do this. It's kind of fun. Great for chips and sandwiches and stuff like that. Just dip your chips in it or your fries, which I think the Brits call chips fries in it. Fries, chips, fries, whatever. Anyway. I did that series too last year, the best sandwich last summer. You can look on YouTube and find those. This would be great on those. But anyway, to start this, also over here, I don't know if you can see that or not in that, but I'm making some crepes with a tart cherry cream cheese filling. So that's something separate. But so if you see that, that's what it is. It doesn't have nothing to do with this. But anyway, what I did was I took some garlic cloves and I put them in this little pan and I put them on the oven and I just on the stove. And I just cooked them. That took about 15 minutes. You'll see one here in just a minute. So I cooked these garlic cloves in this oil until they were soft, and they're going to look just like this. You can probably see these. I'll have this everywhere before it's all said and done. But anyway, they're just browned up. You can roast them. And basically, it's just roasted garlic. You can roast them in the oven if you want. I put these on the stove top. And I didn't need a lot, so I just used this little metal pot I had and set that right on the stovetop. Works great. The whole key being, use a really mild oil on that. You don't want like an Evu or something, a really strong flavored oil, because that's literally what your mayo is going to taste like. So I've got 2 egg yolks. I let these kind of come to room temperature. The other key with this is let this oil with the garlic cloves cool down, because if this comes off hot, and I pour it in here, it's going to cook these eggs. And we're going to have cooked eggs, not mayo. So anyway, get you a fork and just kind of mash these up. I think this is a lot easier to do on the cutting board rather than put them in there and try and do it. If you don't get them good and mashed up, then there's going to be big chunks of garlic, which is fine. I mean, heck, if that's what you like, do that. But just kind of mash this up. This is 2. I've got more in there. I may end up using some of those. So then you scrape it up and you put it in there. You notice I also have a little bacon here. I'll just kind of mix it in roughly. I haven't even started really mixing it yet, but I'll just kind of get that in there. Make sure it's not too chunky. Don't know what I'd do if it was, but I'm going to add a little red pepper flakes because I like this, have a little spice to it. I've got some bacon here. This is not much bacon, but I'm not making much. I mean, this whole thing's only going to end up being probably 1/4 cup, 1/2 cup maybe. But it'd be great for a couple sandwiches, few sandwiches. Put it in the refrigerator, last a few days. So just if you want to use bacon, if you want to use chicken skin, take your chicken skin off your chicken breast or your chicken thighs, fry that up nice and crisp. Chop that up real fine into this. I'm going to add this toward the end because I don't want to be stirring with all this in there. But anyway, I want to finally chop up that bacon like so. I've got a little Dijon mustard here. Just a little bit. Dijon will overpower stuff too, and there's not a lot of this. So that was maybe 1/2 teaspoon. I've got some black pepper. Add a little bit of that. This says garlic powder. That's only to confuse the people who would be robbing us, who would break in here and think they were getting the garlic powder. Anyway, I got a little salt. I'll add it. Not a lot. Don't like the stuff too salty. So don't know why I left that fork in there, because I literally covered half of everything. Half of my ingredients are on the fork now. So I get to do this extra step of scraping off the fork onto the spoon and then scraping the spoon with the fork. Great way to spend some extra minutes doing things that you didn't have to do. So I've got my eggs and the red pepper flakes, the black pepper, the garlic. Now what I'm going to do is I just kind of, hopefully you can see this, just kind of beat this a little bit here. Then I'm going to start adding this oil from the garlic cloves. Now eventually, if everything goes right, this is going to emulsify and look more like mayo. Now here's the thing. This is never going to look like store-bought mayo. That, you know, they put this and that and everything else in theirs. And it's never going to look like that. But it's going to be a mayo texture. I may need slightly more oil in than that. But there's what I've got so far. I think I need a little bit more oil. This is a really light oil. Now you're going to have to beat this as you're doing it, because if you don't, it's all going to separate. If you just added all the oil, now you see it starting to thicken out. There we go. And again, if you have those handy little mixers, that'd be great for this, but I decided to do it the old-fashioned way. See that? See how thick that got? There's your mayo. Now again, I could add a little bit more oil to this, and I probably will have to adjust the salt and pepper. I've got my bacon here. I add that. I don't have to really beat it anymore. I could use a spoon if I had one somewhere. And you see that's how that just all of a sudden became super thick. Now I used 2 egg yolks in this. This small of an amount could have probably used 1. Let me flick that everywhere. That would be a good idea too. And let me give this a little run. I'll see what I need to adjust on my seasonings. I'm guessing that's going to need a little bit more salt because I didn't put a lot in that. Oh. That is nice. Garlicky, just that little bit of bacon. You can get a little hint of the Dijon on that. Let me get a little bit more salt. That doesn't need a ton more salt, but just a little bit. And again, put this on your sandwiches. Put it in the fridge. It'll last several days. Dip your fries in that. Dip your chips in that. Again, this color is really different because I use, you know, things that are fresh, and the yolks are a lot different color on these farm fresh eggs than they're on the store-bought. I could just eat it. I could just eat it right out of the bowl. I could do that thing where they eat the mayo for the competition and see what the heck see how much of that I could eat, because that is absolutely fantastic. You saw how quick I did that. I did those garlic cloves earlier in the oil. Got the egg yolks to room temperature, a little bit of Dijon, salt, pepper. I did chop up the bacon in it. If you don't have the bacon, or if you don't want the bacon, don't put it in there. You could use, like I said, some chicken skin. You could use some wasabi. You could make a wasabi mayo. You could do all kinds of things. But anyway, there it is. Homemade mayo, super simple, in 8 minutes and 32 seconds.